What's going on Facebook and YouTube? This is another quick edition of 717 Sports Chat Live. I'm your host, Marcus J. Just doing a quick cover of tonight's NBA action. Two game slate, game sixes, big game sixes. My 76ers go back to Atlanta and face the Hawks. Hawks lead the series 3-2. And as well as the Clippers and the Jazz later on tonight as well. Series same, except the Clippers lead that series as well, 3-2. So we're going to touch on the first game here. Obviously, the Philly and Atlanta kicks off at 7:30. Atlanta leads the series 3-2. Unfortunately, Philly has beaten themselves in each of these losses the entire series, especially the last two games by blowing leads, especially the last one at home. That was an atrocity, blowing a 27-point lead at home in the playoffs. You can't do it. I made a video about it, and yeah, you just can't do it. So the key, obviously, for Philly to go back to Atlanta and get the W tonight is you got a lead, you got to keep it. I mean, if you have a lead, you got to keep it. Two, it's not like they play bad defense. But you got to play defense all four quarters. The same goes for offense. You got to play all four quarters. You can't just go up by a certain amount and just say, okay, we're going to take the night off. That's not how this works. You let teams get back in a game like that, and it bit us in the ass the last time. So Philly has to go in there with the do or die attitude, you know what I mean? Because if you lose this game, obviously you go home. So for Philly I want to say keep doing what you're doing, because if you really look at it defensively, they haven't played the Hawks bad. It's just in the situations where it's mattered the most, they've collapsed, and that's what we got to stop. We got to stop the collapses in big moments. I mean, in the most crucial parts of the game, we're collapsing, and I'm not understanding it. And on top of that, we need more help outside of Seth Curry and Joel Embiid scoring points. Tobias needs to have a better game. Ben Simmons, I already said I'm done with him. You know what I mean? But while we still alive in this series, I need him to show up. Like 8 points isn't going to cut it. It's not going to cut it. It's not. You know what I mean? So for Philly is play stout defense the way you have, but for all four quarters, and everybody from top to bottom, starters to bench, score all four quarters. Don't get a lead and decide you're going to take off, because, like I said, them young boys, they play tough, and they came back and bit us in the ass, and that's why they're going home right now with playing at home with a 3-2 series lead and all the momentum. For Atlanta, the keys to victory for them is keep doing what they're doing. Trae Young needs to keep playing like he's playing. Don't fight. Don't stop fighting just because you get down. You know what I mean? Keep fighting throughout the whole game. Play basketball the whole four quarters. Each and every time the Sixers has lost against the Hawks this series, we haven't played all four quarters of basketball. We have been inconsistent with playing a full game worth of basketball, except for in the games we win, obviously. But for Atlanta, Trae Young needs to keep doing what he's doing. Obviously, John Collins has been on fire the last two games for them. He needs to keep doing what he's doing. Bogdanovich kind of had an off game last game, but I expect him to be on court tonight. These young boys are going to come out gunning to take us out. You know what I mean? So it's going to be very interesting here. That game locks in about 54 minutes. But once again, key for Atlanta, Trae Young, keep doing what you're doing. Keep obliterating us, obviously, because that's what he's doing, especially when he gets in the lane. When he comes off the pick and he starts driving the lane and we start sending the double team, he's able to kick out. You know what I mean? So we got to keep him out the lane. And for Atlanta, they got to hope that they keep setting those traps to where they're creating opportunities for us to be at a disadvantage. Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. This is 717 Sports Chat Live. I am your host, Marcus J. We're doing a quick cover of tonight's NBA Game 6s between Philly and Atlanta. And then the late night game is Utah and the Clippers. But once again, hit the comment section. Let me know what you guys think of these games. How do you see these games playing out? Do you see the Sixers going home tonight? I hope not. You know what I mean? But it's not looking too good. Do you see Atlanta, pushing forward, or do you see Atlanta's youth coming back to haunt them and Philly being able to take this game back to Philly for game 7? hit the comment section. Let me know what you guys think. I mean, obviously as a Philly fan, I'm hoping that we win this game. You know, I can't even really make a prediction in all honesty because I can't predict this thing right now because they haven't given me consistency to predict really how this game's going to play out. I can sit there and say we're gonna go in there and dominate because our backs against the wall, but we did that the last game and the game before that, and we ended up blowing the lead and giving up that domination. So, all I can say is I hope my guys pull it out tonight. That's all I can say because I'm really not trying to see my boys go home in the second round again. This is getting old, man. This is really getting old. So once again, the keys to victory for the Sixers: play stout defense, don't all four quarters. Just keep doing what you're doing. Keep putting pressure on us. Keep trying to set traps, getting Trey in the lane so he can either shoot that floater over the top or kick out to his three-point shooters, to the open man. We're going to switch over, talk about the late night game, Utah Jazz versus LA Clippers. Clippers surprisingly have a 3-2 series lead in this series. As everybody knows, Kawhi Leonard, their superstar, their top player, is out for the rest of the season and possibly next season with a torn ACL. And I said it before that fifth game, that playoff P is Paul George is going to have to show up. He's going to have to carry this team. And in Game 5, he did that. He went off. But they're going to have, if they're going to win this game tonight, they're going to need another performance from him like that, as well as guys like Batum, Marcus Morris, and Reggie Jackson stepping up. So, but like I said, it's surprising because I had Utah winning this series, and I still have Utah winning this series. I think Utah is going to win this game tonight. I will give a prediction on this game. I think Utah's going to bounce back and win this game 117 and 110. I do think it's going to be a close game. It's going to be a close game. I think the Clippers proved that not only can they play without – well, obviously they proved they can play without Kawhi. They can win without Kawhi. And if Paul George can continue his play from the other night, they have a really strong chance. And it's also worth to note, Donovan Mitchell is a game-time decision for the Jazz tonight. That could be a big blow if he don't play. That could really hurt the Jazz's chances of tying this series and, forcing a Game 7. So, once again, that's the late night game. So we won't find out if Donovan Mitchell's probably playing until around lock time, which, if I'm not mistaken, is around 10:30. Yeah, about 10 o'clock, I believe. Maybe even 10:30 at the latest. I haven't checked the time on that game just yet. But once again, for the Clippers to win this game, they're going to need playoff P, and they're going to need all these other guys who stepped up in the last game to do it tonight. It's not impossible, and they proved that. The Jazz are reeling right now. The Jazz is – plus the Jazz is inexperienced, and going deep in the playoffs is starting to show a little bit. So because this is a young team. This team isn't like a vet team. It seems a young team in its own right. They just have a lot of talent and some really good core players around them. But the key for the Jazz tonight is hope that Donovan Mitchell can play. But if Donovan Mitchell can't play, you got to do what the Clippers did, next man up. Rudy Gobert is going to have a monster game. Bogdanovich is going to have a game. Jordan Clarkson, Joe Ingles, all these guys are going to have to do what the Clippers did to them in Game 5 and have that next man up, mentality and go out there and ball out. Otherwise, they'll be going home. They'll be going home, and not for Game 7. The same goes for the Sixers. The same rules apply for the Sixers and the Jazz tonight. They be on their top game in order to stave off elimination and not fold when they get leads and stuff like that. That's more on the Sixers, though. The Jazz, they're pretty good at keeping their leads. Wish I could say the same for my team. But hit that comment section and let me know what you guys think about these games. Who you guys got winning tonight? How you see it playing out? I mean, like I said, I hope the Sixers win, but I don't know. It's not looking good. And I do got the Jazz beating the Clippers and taking it to Game 7 tonight. I got it 117 and 111. No, I said 117, 110. 117, 110. still a point, but 117, 110. I'm gonna go with that score. I think the Jazz are gonna bounce back and end up forcing a game 7. But hit that comment box in. Let me know what you guys think about these games. Who you guys got winning? You know what I mean? Who you guys got standing out tonight? Especially if Donovan Mitchell can't play for the Jazz. You know, who's going to be your key guy to step up? For me, it's Jordan Clarkson, because that guy, he's a bucket. You know what I mean? He's definitely a bucket. And it's also worth to note Mike Conley might be back tonight. They did say Mike Conley is looking to play tonight, you know what I mean, in game 6. So keep your eyes on that as well. Because Mike Conley, especially if he's even at least 75, 80% healthy, Mike Conley can help contribute to the Jazz's chance of winning game 6, especially if Donovan Mitchell is not out on the court. So once again, the keys to victory for the Clippers is they have to do what they did the last game. Step up. You know, without Kawhi, Paul George has to be playoff P. He was playoff P for one game last game. Everybody knows Paul George has had inconsistencies in the playoffs. So he has to do what he did last game in order for him to win. And for the Jazz, hope that Donovan Mitchell plays. Hope that if he does play, he doesn't re-aggravate that injury and that he's on point. And if he doesn't play, hope that, you know, guys like Jordan Clarkson and Joe Ingles and Bogdanovich, you know, those guys can score. Hope those guys pick up the scoring load and that Gobert can also, you know, be his usual dominant self. He hasn't had a good last couple games. He hasn't been really dominating like that. So that's the key to victories for that game tonight. But once again, hit the comment section. Let me know what you guys think about these games. Also, if you want to donate, you know what I mean, hit there's I have a YouTube link in my links in my about section. It's there, you know what I mean, and it's also here on the screen. MJW hashtag MJW62089. If you want to donate to the show, be $1, $2, $3, doesn't matter. Any donation, anything to help expand the show, it will be greatly appreciated. And once again, like I said in my previous video, we will be getting on a set time frame here. I will be going 2 hours live here, and it will be a set time, so everybody knows when I'll be going live, and we can get everybody in the chat section, etc., except me having to just make these random videos with really no notification and stuff like that. But, you know, content is content, and that's just what I'm pushing out at this point. So once I get a set time frame or when I'm going to be on, I'll definitely let everybody know. But I'm going to get off here. I'm going to get back to work. You guys have a blessed evening, and I'll check y'all out after the game.